I'm Ray from Orderly, and today I'll be talking about labels. I think to many of us, we think that labeling is something that's quite unimportant or unnecessary, but to us as professional organizers, we think that it's something super, super important and something that cannot be missed in your home. Labeling is not just for aesthetics, it's actually a form of communication between family members. It really helps to, improve relationships even because let's say if one person were to say give the instruction like, hey, you can find that in the cupboard above the kitchen labeled medicine, the other person has no excuse to say that they can't find what they need because labeling really does help with communication. Secondly, I think when you're feeling very, very overwhelmed, when you're very busy, which is pretty much most of us, when you have things around the whole house being labeled, it really helps you so much because when your brain is so tight and there's really not much bandwidth left to remember small details like that, being able to refer to labels to find what you need is really a lifesaver. So for the rest of this video, I'll be answering some common questions we get regarding labels. Without further ado, let's dive into it. Okay, one common question we get is how do we label rattan bins or fabric bins? That is a very valid question because, for rattan bins, the surface tends to be quite uneven. For fabric bins as well, so simply because of the material, the sticker on the label would not adhere as well or stay for long. So over here, I've got a sample to show you guys. All you need is to get a label clip or label holder. So they're usually like a slip-on kind of clip. And over here, the one that I've got is, you can expand it according to the thickness of your organizing bin. And you can simply print out your label and stick on it. Or you can even use a marker to write on. But because of the material, if it's whiteboard marker, it actually gets wiped away pretty easily. So I still highly recommend printing your label using a label machine and then sticking on it. So these kind of label clips, they come in different shapes and sizes. This is quite a simple, clean, minimal looking one. I've got one more on the other side to show you guys, which is an even smaller label holder. This label holder actually came with one of the organizing products that we've purchased. So in terms of size, it's a lot smaller. That just means that when printing a label, make sure to either keep the font small or keep the label short and succinct. So these kind of label holders, they come in many different colors. I've seen white, black, steel, like silver, and even like acrylic. So take your pick, whichever color you prefer that matches your organizing product. I think these are great for labeling fabric bins, especially in the wardrobe, and also rattan bins, say for toys. You can even print a large image of a like cute little icon of the toys to paste on here so that your kids can recognize how they should organize their toys if need be. So yes, label clips. Another common question we always get from our clients is what label printer do we recommend? I think without a doubt, the best label printer brand will be Brother. For us, we use this P-Touch H107 a lot for most of our clients. This is actually pretty affordable. It's not the latest model that's available out there. This is actually the first model that my best friend gave me when I started the business in 2021. This is, of course, a newer machine. Her machine is a lot older already and I've archived it. But for all of our team members, we buy this. The labels are very affordable on Shopee as well. I think it's about $3-ish. We'll link it in our description box below. This machine itself is also affordable at about 35 if I'm not wrong. So it does come in like very basic fonts. You can also adjust the font size, small, medium, large. For our clients, we like to use the deco mode. I will also link the video above here where we've explained step-by-step instructions how to use this machine to get the deco mode. And it comes up with a nice font like this. As you can see here. But for most of our clients, we like to print the uppercase font because it's a lot neater and nicer that way. The other label machine that we highly recommend would be this P Touch Q Plus, also by Brother. This is a lot bigger, it's very heavy, but this is pretty amazing. So we will only recommend this label printer for someone who's gonna be quite invested into labeling, meaning you want to label your entire house and make sure that it looks nice. And also if you want into like more crafty things, this label printer is pretty amazing. You can also print on ribbons. You can use cassettes of different widths. So for say if you have elderly uh, in your home and you want the font size to be super big, you can just purchase the cassettes label refills with the wider width, and you can adjust the font size to the largest available, and the labels that you can print out can be very big. And we like that you can print very fancy things on these as well, like for example labels for gift bags. In the app as well, you can use a lot of their pre-made templates, which are already very nice, so that saves you lots of time in preparing the labels. I personally also like that they have nice fonts to choose from, not an overwhelming selection, but a very sufficient collection of fonts. And for us personally, I personally like to use the Avenir font. It's very simple and it looks very classy for most of our clients' labels. So yes, these two label machines actually use the same refills if you were to use the 12 mm width. But of course, with this P-Touch Cube Plus, you can use labels of different widths if you wish. This is a lot heavier. This is a lot lighter for on the go if you need to carry it around if you need to. So yeah, just some pros and cons for each label printer, but we highly recommend label printer from Brother, and you can get them easily from Shopee as well. Okay, another question. I want my labels to look fancy but practical. Any suggestions? So I would say to go for fonts that are sleek and clean looking. I personally like the Avenir font from the P Touch Cube Plus. For this P Touch H107, I find the default font a little robotic looking, which is why for most of our clients we use the Deco font. The Deco font, it is a little bit like a dotted line. So if our clients are a little bit older or if their vision is not too good, then we will actually revert back to the default font, which is more for like practical and functional use. But for most of the time, we opt for a font that is a lot more sleek. Also, I think in order to keep your labels, fancy but practical, you can also opt for clear tape instead of a white backing so that it doesn't look too obvious on your organizing bins or on your cupboards or on your shelves. I think having that clear background is actually really nice, and it fits most of the cupboards no matter what the laminate or the wood color is. And I think that's just one way to keep it looking very simple, clean, and sleek at the same time. And last question, how do I label my switches? I think the best way would be to label the location. So for example, this light is for dining, this light is for living room. So label by room. But we've realized a cuter way of labeling the switches would be using different icons on top of the words. So sometimes if it's like a dining area, maybe you can use a fork and spoon. If it's the living area, maybe you can put a TV or a sofa. If it's the bathroom, you could put an image of like a shower head. So there are different ways to make your labels look cute. But I think most importantly is that all family members understand the labels. So at the crux of it all, we don't have to get too fancy or too worried about how to label your switches perfectly. I feel as long as everybody can understand, labeling the space would be the best. And also, if you have elderly in the home, it's also good to add Mandarin or your mother tongue language on the label if it helps. We've actually done that for one of our clients who was helping their elderly parents settling in back into their newly renovated home. So we used like big Chinese fonts on the labels to label their switches so that they will not forget which switch is for which light or which space in the house. Alright, hope this video was useful for you. If you have any other questions about labels, labeling in general, feel free to ask us in the comment section below. If you have not done so, please like and subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!